do you know, Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, has said in one of these interviews that she's really annoyed when people come along to dinner, that they're always on their phones.
Oh, sorry.
For those of you listening on the radio, Stephen's been on his phone. He didn't even know we were back on air.
Well, I was looking at tweets.
Of course you were. Yeah.
I was looking at some tweets and people telling me someone was...
If I invited you to dinner, would you be on that phone all the time?
Yeah, probably. Someone was messaging saying defibrillators cost £1,500. So 20,000 times 1,500 is what?
Oh, that's why.
A lot of money.
Yes, a lot of money. Welcome back, by the way.
Hello.
You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Anne. We're in a slightly funny mood today. I don't know why. Maybe I got out in the sun yesterday. Maybe I'll put it down to that.
Yeah,
I was in the
sunstroke.
garden. A bit too much.
Yeah, there you go.
Shall we take a look at today's front pages?
Oh, we'll start with... Stop giggling, Dawn.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's a disgrace this morning. Put her in lilac and she goes wild. The Sunday Telegraph has a photo of Liz Truss. The paper says she'll put an end to Stalinist housing targets. Rishi Sunak promises to ditch EU laws.
The Sunday Times leads with the headline, Mordaunt's gender claims undermined by leaked papers, focusing on her views on gender self-identification.
For the Sunday Mirror, it combines two big stories, Boris's leadership and the heatwave. It says the Prime Minister is hosting a farewell party at Chequers. He didn't go to the second Cobra meeting about the heatwave.
And the Daily Star Sunday says the heatwave is going to be followed by a baby boom. It reports that the 41 degrees temperature will put us in the mood for romance.
Let's see what Dawn Neeson and Kevin Woodford make of all of that. Good to see you both this morning. Let's start with the climate, actually. The heat. Dawn in The Observer.
It is. We're British. We're going to talk about the weather, whether we like it or not. This is The Observer, and this is an interview with Alok Sharma, who was basically his cabinet minister. He was head of COP26, wasn't he, the climate change.
He did very well as well, didn't he?
He did, absolutely. I'm not sure anyone took any notice of what was said, but we are where we are. And he is saying the total commitment to net zero agenda from whoever is to lead the country is essential to avoid incredible damage to Britain's global standing. Now, all the leadership candidates, with the exception of Kemi Badenoch, have committed to our net zero by 2050, which is part of what the government have said all along. And Alok is saying that this needs to be done, and he wouldn't back anyone that didn't subscribe to this principle. So the only one that's really been the strongest on this is Rishi Sunak. So I think basically saying back Rishi Sunak. I mean, Rishi has said that he would keep the green levies, supports net zero, and called for more home insulation. However, Rishi, when he was Chancellor, was also the one that actually withdrew funding to go for extra insulation to houses. So you have to question exactly where he stands on this one. I mean, they've all pretty much subscribed to the net zero by 2050. Liz Truss she's called for a sort of like moratorium on the green energy levy. And I think this is a big issue for people at home at the moment. It's like, our fuel bills are all going through the roof at home. And there's the green levies of up to 25%. The percentages vary depending on who you talk to. But up to 25% goes to green levies, basically. And I think...
It's a tax.
It's a tax, basically. And I think Liz Truss's point is like, when we are all suffering to get us through this period of time, can we just freeze that for a while? Yes, we all know we need to do something. We all know we need to invest in our planet-friendly fuels. But at the moment, we can't afford it. So she's a bit edgy on it. Penny has said that green levies need to be scrapped full stop. So she's been quite the other way on it. And Tom Duggan is wavering on the whole issue. So Rishi seems to be the one that is actually the strongest on this. But, as I said, he went back on it.
But then he's sort of tax, isn't he?
Well, I mean, the highest taxes in 70 years, as we keep repeating to ourselves.
You see, Kevin, in the Express, he's vowing to scrap all EU law red tape.
Yeah, he is. And it's interesting, that, isn't it? Because there are 2004 laws that we've taken on from the EU, which have come into our statute. So he's saying that if he gets the keys to number 10, that's what he's going to do. But he's also going to slash the red tape to trigger Big Bang 2 and make the City of London the world's leading financial centre by 2027. He plans to make it easier for insurers to invest in infrastructure and to overhaul data protection rules, which limit a lot of the investment that can happen with the high-tech boys. Do we believe it? I don't know. I mean, there's lots of promises there. But, again, why have we got 2004 laws which we've inherited from the EU, and we still got them? Brexit's happened. These things should have been dealt with, at early stages, but we still have them, and they do hinder.
I suppose there's a lot of Brexit work to still be done, isn't there? I mean, you can argue that because a pandemic suddenly happened at the same time as Brexit, there was no way we could get on with the Brexit business.
You could argue that, but you could also argue that perhaps there's a lot of Remainers that sort of like to hold back on things and hope that things might change. But let's hope he does. I mean, that would be fantastic to see it moving forward. And if he delivers what he promises if he becomes PM, fantastic. We'd see the country moving forward, which would be wonderful.
Okay, well that sounds very pro-Sunak, but Dawn, tell us about what he was wearing the other day.
I love this story. I know it's incredibly shallow to concentrate on what potential future PMs are wearing, but this is good story. I
think this is actually. I think as someone who wants to appeal to the public come a general election.
Exactly. This is Rishi Sunak, who was visiting a building site in Teesside, wearing a pair of Prada brown suede loafers for £490 on a building site, and ignoring the fact they're actually not that nice, and they obviously saw him coming. If you're paying £490 for those, you need looking at. But this isn't the first time Rishi has done this, is it? I mean, he was pulled up recently, last week even, by saying he didn't know any working class people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a good look when you want to be out.
His wife went out and gave cups of tea to all the reporters outside their house.
Yes.
In mugs that cost 38 quid each.
38 quid for a mug?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
How the press knew that? They must have just sort of...
They just Googled
They
it.
must have looked at the name on the bottom of the cup or something.
The prices were still on the bottom.
But there was a tray of cups she took out, and each cup was 38 quid.
Wow.
Before you put tea
But
in it.
that goes back to Rishi when he was Chancellor. Wasn't he captured drinking out of a smart mug?
Yes,
your flask
it's
there.
it's one of these,
Yeah.
I think. And yes, it was one of the...
hot.
But yes, there's a USB port in it.
Yes.
You plug it into and it keeps itself warm, but it also tells you how your caffeine intake is going during the day.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
But what was it, 300 quid or something?
It was closer to 200, but I mean, so he's obviously economising on that one.
By the way, I want one for Christmas. Thank you very much. No,
But he was,
really don't.
He was actually yesterday at pains, whilst walking around a building site in his nearly 500 quid shoes, at pains to point how he's emphasised his humble background as a son of a pharmacist.
It's not the sort of thing. I mean, he can't be that humble. He went to private school.
Yes, he did. Went to Winchester, yeah. But I think he won a scholarship to Winchester.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But this brings you on to the whole debate is, because you come from a background where you or indeed have money, can you run the country? Can you really be in touch with what working class people who are struggling are going through?
I know he was a young man when that video was filmed that you mentioned.
It was 21.
It was 20, but at 21 to say, oh yeah, well of course I mix with the aristocracy and I mix with upper class people, but I don't know working class people. It's like at 21, you're saying that at 21, that's hardly humble beginnings.
That's quite, yeah.
But, I don't worry too much about that, to be quite honest with you. I mean, if somebody's successful and they've made a lot of money and they're in politics, that doesn't worry me too much. What concerns me more is their level of honesty, going back to honesty again, and their ability to be able to sort of make this country great. I think that's really, really important. I take the point that in a perfect person, I would want that person to understand the working class and how difficult it is to survive.
But especially at the moment, I mean, a lot of what Rishi says at the moment is probably very, very sensible economically, but he's always taking the long-term view. And meanwhile, there are people who just can't afford to take the long-term view on anything.
We need it now. We need help now. Definitely.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Let's talk weather. We've got the heat wave in the mail, Kevin, but also tell us about Casper.
Oh, Casper, yeah.
We can show Casper.
Oh, really?
Casper.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, Casper's my little baby. He's a 1.5-year-old French Bulldog who they absolutely detest heat, because they often have breathing problems. They're also, we were assured...
This is in your garden?
Yeah, this is in my garden. This is Casper yesterday, who they hate heat and they hate water. They don't like going near water because they just detest it.
He's an oddity then.
Casper is an oddity. He's a very strange little chap who adores water. And it's perfect because while the temperature soars, Casper can still be outside, and he will play with that all day. So we don't have to worry about him. He'll run through that hose all day. Absolutely adores it. Yeah.
You're on the radio this morning, Casper. He's got the sprinkler on and he's diving through the.
He's a happy little boy.
Cute. He is head in the sprinkler, no matter where it's pointing.
But there's lots of advice, isn't there, with regards to the heat in terms of what you should be doing.
Funnily enough, we've got a vet coming in a bit later with a French Bulldog. And so we're talking about how you should be putting sun cream.
Yeah, I've just seen it. Yeah, you have to put it on their pink bits. I shall remember that when I go home this afternoon.
So how do we breeze through the heat wave?
Well, right, according to Mail on Sunday, then there's some obvious things that we should do. For example, use the desk fan as an air conditioning unit, which is obvious. They suggest hanging towels outside of your window helps. Right, yeah. Just to give extra protection from the sun coming in. The ones that I like are you put your pillowcases in the freezer, then presumably unstiffen them, because I guess they'd be quite stiff when they come out of the freezer, right? Yeah. And I would think that might be nice, but anything that goes in the freezer, normally there's crystallization happens, so while you're lying in bed at night...
Plastic bag.
I do. In a plastic bag. Do you do this, Anne?
Yes. Well, you can do the same with jumpers or whatever what you're wearing.
Oh, really?
As long as you put it in a sealed plastic bag, one of those Ziploc-y type things, then put that in the freezer.
And that's more hygienic.
As you say, the moisture doesn't crystallize.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't get wet in the middle of the night.
But I mean, they only last so long before your body heats.
Yeah, they do, don't they, really?
I would recommend putting a thing of wet wipes in the freezer. And then every so often you can peel off a frozen wet wipe and just...
While you're in bed.
Yeah.
They suggest putting your feet in cold water is great, because that's obviously really going to cool you down. Turning the appliances off so that they're on standby, and apparently that generates a tremendous amount of heat. And refill your... Now this is great. Refilling your water bottle. There's an app now called Refill that you can put on your phone, and it will tell you wherever you are. It'll tell you the nearest place where you can actually refill your little water bottle free of charge. And in fact, there's a lot of places now, Costa Coffee, Greg's, Morrison's, there are other stores available, all have free drinking water. If you pop in, you can get free drinking water. No, that's really good to know. National Trust is fantastic for that, if you're travelling around the country. And English heritage properties, you can pop in there and you can get free water as well. But the app's a great thing, because wherever you are, it'll tell you immediately.
You can get free water.
My favourite tip, Kevin, and you're going to love this one, was to avoid cooking, right? Okay, because it's hot food in the kitchen, so avoid it if you can. And bearing it, I'm allergic to kitchens, so I don't even know where mine is. And I love that tip, and it's like, I can't possibly go near a kitchen and cook anything.
Works.
It's way too hot.
Works.
So.
And actually irresponsible.
It's absolutely
a silly thing to do.
my life by cooking. And other people's, probably.
Yes, you're not good in the kitchen.
I'm not good in the kitchen, love, no. No, don't ever do the dinner party thing. No, you would get food poisoning. This is what restaurants are for,
Not good, is it?
It's not good, Kerry. I don't know if people can't take joy out of cooking.
We were talking about anxiety. We were talking about anxiety dreams earlier. That we found, Stephen and I, that we have sort of similar anxiety dreams. Maybe because we do a similar job.
I think my cooking is linked to your anxiety dreams.
That's what I was wondering.
The causal link, isn't it?
Is suddenly waking up and being found in the kitchen an anxiety dream for you or something? Have you had?
No.
Do you have an anxiety dream that comes back again and again?
It's not revising from my A-levels, which I took about 300 years ago. Yeah.
So not revising for my French A-levels.
Yes.
Guilt.
But you have the same. You have the same dream.
Yeah.
Do you? What is it?
It's not getting to the studio on time.
Right.
But it's right back to when we first started our job. So mine is at ATV in Birmingham,
Yeah.
and I can still see myself running down the corridor
Oh, wow.
to get to the studio.
That's your level of professionalism showing through at night.
Maybe.
But that did
What about yours? You must have an anxiety dream of
Do you know, I
culinary sort.
No, I don't. No. I used to, when I did Ready Steady Cook, I used to have many of them, many of them, especially on a sort of a Monday
You've
before
got to
going to the
produce
studio.
the goods on time.
You've got 20 minutes, you've got to produce it on time, and it would be the fear was that somebody would bring in a bag of goodies, and I have no idea what they are or how to deal with them, which did actually happen when a lady came back from holiday in the Philippines, and she brought a bag of bits and pieces, and no idea what they were, dried things, and I thought it won't be a problem because I'll have a quick sneaky look at the package, and it'll tell me what I need to do with it, which of course was in not my language. So no idea whatsoever, so you got to storm your way through it. So that's my anxiety dream. Doesn't happen anymore, thank
That's
goodness.
real stress, that is.
Get in touch with yours this morning, gbviews@gbnews.uk. We're going to leave it there, you two. Dawn, Kevin, we'll see you a little bit later on.